Good morning and welcome to the Oman Cricket Academy Turf Pitch 1 here. It's time for the Asian Cricket Council Western Region Grand Final. Two sides here. We're going to see duke it out for the big trophy. But right now, both of these sides are very happy because they've qualified. Kuwait have pulled off a big upset. Ranked 4th out of the 8 teams in the T20I rankings coming into today. They're coming into this tournament. They managed to upset the apple cart, upset both Oman, who were knocked out before the semi-finals, and Qatar. Qatar went down to a narrow defeat yesterday to the UAE. But you're very welcome along this morning. I'm going to bring you every ball of this final. And Kuwait have won the toss and they've decided to bowl first. Maybe a little bit of a surprise after batting first yesterday, although they lost that toss. So we're up and underway. First ball is a dot ball, opening the batting as they have done for much of the week. For the UAE is Cherif. He's joined by the vastly experienced Ronnie Mustafa. And opening the bowling for Kuwait is Mohammed Ansar from the Al Emirat end. Yeah, Cherif's been in fine form. One of the bigger names in this UAE side, has some IPL experience. Himself, Ahmed Raza and Rohan Mustafa. Ahmed Raza, the captain. Those three have really stood up to be counted this week. So has the big fast bowler Zohar Khan. And they needed to be counted yesterday because the UAE could only muster 122. And that's a glorious shot from Cherif. Back of a length, cut away, pierces the infield. Fully in control of that shot, right off the middle of the bat. The first boundary of this Emirati innings comes in the first over. A glorious shot from Cherif. It was short and wide outside the off stump. You can see there, cut away, pierces the offside. Back live with you now. Into the offside again, but can't pierce the infield this time. Such a talent, young Cherif. That's a young side that Robin Singh, the UAE head coach, has brought here. But no changes to today's starting 11 for either sides. So if you thought that both sides would be satisfied with just taking their qualification place, absolutely not. They're putting out their strongest 11. And the reason they're putting their strongest 11 out is they want to get their hands on the trophy for this Western Region T20 qualifier. Down the track, it's somewhat agriculturally into the leg side. No control of the shot. Fast running between the wickets, direct hit. Would have been close. Ronnie Mustafa quick between the wickets. He'll get back on strike. So we had 8 teams here this week battling it out for the 2 places in the next phase on the road to the Asia Cup 2020. And there were joyful scenes yesterday for Kuwait and the UAE. The UAE, it was perhaps a touch more of relief. They'd won their 3 group games, but then their batting failed against Qatar. Could only make 122. That's a beautiful shot. Again, the second classical cricket shot of the over, this time the leg glance. We've seen all week Mohammed Ansar generating good movement through the air, but it strays onto the pads. Cherif dispatches that for 4. There's a significant movement, hooping it in. Fine leg in the circle though. Always going to be 4 runs. So 10 runs from the first over. Good start for UAE, who would be favourites coming into today. Remember, they're the higher ranked side, ranked 15th in the world in T20 international cricket. And that's the UAE 11. No changes for them. That's obviously not in batting order. We're not going to see Ahmed Raza in at 3. But a sensational bowling performance yesterday. Wahid Ahmed, Zohar Khan, Cherif with the bat, of course, but Ronnie Mustafa and Ahmed Raza, the spin twins, doing a really good job for the UAE. And we'll take a quick look at the Kuwait team as well. My first view of them yesterday, having done the Group A matches all week. But certainly a fine batting performance, particularly from the leading run scorer, Ravi Sandarawan. Keep an eye out for him. But opening the bowling from this pavilion end is going to be Saeed Manib. First ever cricketer to play for Kuwait of Afghan origin. I was talking to him yesterday after they qualified. What would it mean for him to go on to an Asia Cup and play against his native Afghanistan? All I got was a very big smile in response. He's a wholehearted bowler. Saeed Manib comes in, gives it 100% every delivery. Probably the only bowler we've had on show this week who's audibly letting out a grunt with every delivery he releases. Great to see. Sturdily built. He gets it through at a good pace. Certainly the fastest bowler in this Kuwait attack, which is an attack perhaps a little lacking in express pace, but not wanting for lack of effort. The big man, Saeed Manib, really well bowled. Left alone by Ronnie Mustafa. Happy to just watch it through. Remember, it's 9:30 a.m. local time here. So the starts, as we've seen for the first game of every match on what's been 5 consecutive game days. I was talking with Ronnie Mustafa out in the middle whilst he was twirling over a few of those beautiful off breaks. I said, God, it's tough, 5 games in 5 days. That's associate cricket for you, I said to him. And he replied with the following: for me, this is normal. During Ramadan in the UAE, I play 28, maybe 29 days out of 30 during Ramadan. And of course, that's fasting all during the day. He says at the end of his fast, then he'd break, he'd have his iftar, and then during the dusk hours under the floodlights, it's cricket, cricket, cricket. And that's the scale of passion in the region. The UAE, a real hub of the Gulf. That one again, too wide outside the off stump. His natural delivery, Saeed Manib, is into the right-hander or away from the left-hander. Just slightly different conditions this morning. The 4 other days we've had cricket here have just been glorious. Perfect sunshine, 25 to 30 degrees each day, but this morning, very different, quite muggy, a little humid. We had a little bit of rain overnight, some dark clouds enveloped the hotel we're staying in, Rui, now near the original downtown Muscat. What that's doing is aiding the shape for Saeed Manib. You can see it there away from the left-hander Rohan Mustafa. And perhaps this is why Kuwait have chosen to bowl first. Just some atmospheric conditions providing a little bit of assistance to this new white ball. It's a nice balanced attack though, this Kuwaiti bowling attack. 2 left-arm spinners and a leg spinner. The captain himself, Mohammad Aslam's been on fire this tournament. No ball called. And immediately called. A little ripple of applause from the UAE bench across to our right. And the reason why is because they see what the umpire is signalling. Any no ball in modern international cricket is a free hit. So we're going to have a free hit. Afzal Sher Khan there, the umpire at this pavilion end, has adjudged that Saeed Manib has overstepped the front foot. Afzal Sher Khan standing today in this final alongside Rahat Ali Chowdhury from Saudi Arabia. Our third umpire today, Riaz Karupkar, and a special mention for our match referee, Mr. A.R. Srinivasan from Oman. So it's a free hit. Ronnie Mustafa on strike, yet to get off the mark. And he's going to have to re-bowl that free hit because, again, extravagant movement away from the left-hander, going outside the off-stump. And you can see correctly the umpire re-signalling free hit. It's rodeo time here in Muscat. Back-to-back free hits. Pressure of the big stage, perhaps getting to Kuwait. There's the captain, Mohammad Aslam. Lovely to hear his thoughts yesterday after the game. Such joy, and he was preaching to us is the boys are part-time cricketers. That one's smashed into the sky. It's gone higher airily than it has The catch is attempted, but it wouldn't have mattered, of course. Afzal Ashraf. I'm not going to call that one as a drop catch because it doesn't matter. And the end result is 2 runs. Rohan Mustafa is off the mark. So not the over that Saeed Manib would have been wanting. You can see the graphics on the strip at the bottom of our screen. 3 wides and a no ball. Yeah, really good bowling this. When he is getting it right, when he's not bowling the extras, he's causing Rohan Mustafa problems. So to go alongside those 3 wides and a no ball, we've also had 4 dots in this over. Not something we're used to seeing from Rohan Mustafa at the top of the innings. Usually such a dashing, elegant, graceful left-hander. Inside edge from Mustafa. So he's going to retain the strike, get through for a single. At the end of 2 overs, the UAE are 17 for none. Thirteen places separate these two sides in the ICC T20 international rankings. UAE 15th, Kuwait 28th in the world. So would be a big upset for Kuwait to turn over more fancied UAE side. Ronnie Mustafa uses his feet down the track. Not out of the middle of the bat, but with mid-off and mid-on both in the circle, it doesn't matter. A little touch of bats between the 2 openers. Yeah, so it would be an upset. to have some company in the commentary box. So, for the first time today, I'm going to have some company in the commentary box, and I'm delighted to be joined by the Kuwait team manager, who might not be a very happy man at this very moment because the game not quite going his way, but a delighted man generally after what's been a really good couple of days for his side, as Cherif Suri uses his feet down the track, one bounce for really good batting. So I'm joined by Mr. Mahmood Abdullah. Very kind of you to join us, and tell us about the last few days.
Well, it's been great. To be honest, we're extremely proud of the lads. Young team. For us to reach the finals now, this means a lot to us because the next step is to go to Malaysia. So, and which is in August. But then also we have the T20 ACC coming up in Kuwait in April. So this will be a good boost for us and a good boost for the lads. Young team, we are building up something for the future. Naturally, they are very excited to be in the final. Yes, things are not going our way at the moment, but as you know, cricket, things could change between any over. If something goes wrong, if something falls, a wicket falls.
Big appeal and given. I just wonder, did Rohan Mustafa get a little bit of an inside edge on that? But Afzal Sher Khan, the Omani umpire, has decided that that's out. Ronnie Mustafa cannot believe it. He's certain that he got an inside edge. I heard two noises here from my position in the commentary box. Let's take a look at the replay. It was a full delivery, a huge appeal, darted in a little quicker from Afzal Ashraf. And you'd have to say, you'd think there was a hint of inside edge there, but that doesn't matter. Afzal Sher Khan thought it was out. And Mustafa goes, the first wicket. The arrival of the Kuwaiti manager into the commentary box has brought about a wicket.
I brought good luck. I told you things might change in cricket. So this is how it is. One or two wickets fall down, out quickly. Then, we are hoping to target a maximum or limit them to a maximum of 160 if we can. Last time we played them in the group, we made few mistakes and we realized them, and the lads realized them. And we are hoping that we can capitalize on today's winning the toss and do something good, for them to be proud, for Kuwait. A lot of supporters are in Kuwait waiting and watching us, and hopefully we can do something.
Yeah, Rohan Mustafa falls for 28 from 24 deliveries, 4 fours in that innings of his. So it's going to bring the first wicket for Kuwait, and much to the delight of the Kuwaiti team manager, who's joining me in the commentary box, Mahmood Abdullah. So yeah, perhaps a little fortunate, not an LBW decision that Rohan Mustafa was too pleased with. But coming in at number 3 for the UAE is going to be Basil Hamid. Can I ask you a little bit about the setup of club cricket and your structures in Kuwait?
Yes, we have 2 types of cricket in Kuwait, which what we call Desert League, which they play on like a cement wicket and sandy outfield, and we have also similar to here, which is the turf wicket, and we have so many divisions. We have over, I would say, 50 registered teams in Kuwait cricket, in different divisions, from division A to division even E. So, and we choose the players mainly from division A and B, looking at their performance, statistics, and so on.
And what time of the year would Obviously, you get some quite extreme temperatures in the summer. Is it mainly through the winter?
You'll be surprised to hear that we'll play all around the year, 12 months of the year. Even in the summer, we have summer league because we have the floodlights, so we play nighttime. Even, I mean, the temperature will be high, but still, we have some crazy cricketers who will still like to play cricket in the summer. And in Ramadan, of course, we play also in the night times as well, mostly T10s. So, yeah, it's all around the year. So we're very active from that side of it.
Give us a little bit of context about this result for Kuwait, whether they win or lose today. Remember, they're going to go on to the final of the Asian Cricket Council T20 qualifier. You're going to have a 1 in 4 chance of going to join the biggest teams there are: India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Afghanistan.
I'm getting goosebumps already just to think about it. Yes, yeah, naturally we're very excited, and I mean, win or lose today, we are there anyway. So we'll prepare the team the best way we can. We have a very good coach from Sri Lanka. We have a good assistant coach, and we have a bunch of lads. All right, we will do some, maybe required some tweaking, as they say, some minor changes here and there, but mainly the team will remain the same. You know, we are averaging the age of 25, 26, which is something to build up for the future as well. Yes, and mainly, to be honest, I don't want to take anything away from the rest of the lads, but Muhammad Aslam, the captain, has been the outstanding taker, I'm thinking, in the whole tournament. I mean, last match he took 4 wickets for a few runs, and the match before also against Iran, against Saudi. So um, we are realizing that spin is difficult to play, and if you have a very good spinner, the likes of Pradeep, Aslam, and we have Shiraz and Afzal, although he's a part-time spinner, but he's still. So we can. But I mean, fast bowlers, don't forget, they also did some damages yesterday to the Saudis, to the Bahraini lads. Ansar. Muhammad Ansar, the fast bowlers, yes, yes. Well, that is, of course, a step at a time. We don't want to look too far ahead, but yes, it is an achievement that to reach that, and our next target will be hopefully winning it, and that will be the real target, to play against the big boys. Will be a dream come true for all of us. Mm, I think we believe we have a good side that we could beat anybody on a day that things are going our way. So naturally, international exposure is very important for any team. I mean, never mind the youngsters, but even the international players, if they don't have all these international exposures, it's not gonna help them. And naturally, with our team playing different sides of the likes of even Iran, that is the first time Saudis, Emiratis, Saudian, it will help us to get better and improve, and also to see where are the areas we can advise and guide the players to do better in future. Well, in the GCC countries, mainly, the countries that you mentioned, we have the Eastern Asian effect, if you could call it, from the likes of India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, Sri Lanka. We have a lot of these expats, and naturally, they love this game. This is number one for them. And as you know, even in the world, is number two statistically is cricket. When you get all these people and playing, of course, it rubs off. And with the help of the criteria that allow each country yeah, I mean of course, I mean the criteria helped a lot, that allowing the expats to represent the country that they are working in, and look at the changes. Look, where is the ICC headquarters now? It is here. It is in the Gulf area. It's in Dubai. We don't want to just depend on football being our first game. We want to get the cricket going, and hopefully, no, yes. So I'm sure with the support of, I hope the governments of each of the GCC countries and the loving individuals to cricket and organizations, I'm sure one day all these GCC countries, not just to be represented by expats, I'm hoping that there will be nationals that they will play as well.
The second wicket. Myself. It was a really good catch. Is held by Mohammed Amin. Yeah, so just as we lost the audio briefly on my microphone, we did see the second wicket fall. A really good catch from the captain, Mohammed Aslam, at extra cover. I'm just going to bring you the replay here. Pradeep Wasantha getting in the wicket-taking act. Basil Hamid tried to come down the track, but all he could do was pick out the Kuwaiti skipper in extra cover. And our guest in the commentary box, Mahmoud Abdullah, the Kuwaiti manager, seems to be bringing about quite a bit of luck to his team.
Well, I hope it will continue. As I said, we're trying to target them less than 160. So if this continues like this, I think we will achieve our target.
Yeah, so I was just asking you before that wicket fell about how important that decision to grant T20I status was from the ICC.
It's very important you know, how are we going to know, I mean, whether it is Kuwait or where we stand in the world if they do not give us the ranking? Yeah, I know all the rankings, you know, from 1 to down, you know. I know like Bahrain is 50 plus, and we are 28, we know. So beating Saudis who are higher up and reaching the final ahead of Qatar and Oman, who are also ahead of us in the ranking. Of course, it is important for us to know.
Mohammed Usman, the new man at number 4 for the UAE, and the reason he's at the crease is a beautiful piece of bowling from Pradeep Wasantha. But Basil Hamid was really trying to push things along. But after 11 overs, the UAE are 94 for 2. Chirag Suri right on the cusp of a half century. He's not going to be on strike, the new man will. And those rankings must help contextualise cricket for your efforts to try and get more support from the Kuwait Sports Council and the like.
Of course it is. I mean, when people, the officials in back in the country, they see the rankings and they see where Kuwait is and how it is improving, naturally they will support us. But I mean, one point I would like to add: if you think back in a different sport, football, when it started the World Cup, there were only a handful of teams playing. Then it started becoming 12, then 16, then 24. Now they're looking at 36, 32. And I don't see why cricket doesn't do the same.
Yeah, particularly in the T20 format, where it seems like any side on their day can turn over another side.
Yeah, I mean, if you also looking at the history of T20, as you said, Holland beat England one time. Afghanistan came in, and everybody was looking at them. Oh, maybe not. But look what they've done. So T20, yes, it's important.
Afghanistan, the only side to beat the champions, the West Indies, in the last T20 World Cup in India in 2016. Oman beating Ireland, much to my chagrin, in Dharamsala. And that's going to be 50 to Chirag Suri. A really good innings from one of the form batsmen of the tournament. He's stepped up to the plate. He's made 50 from 31 deliveries, and it's been a superb knock. He continues his superb run of form. As I said, a man with a little bit of IPL experience, but also a touch of class. He's shown real grace and poise throughout this knock. 8 4s, no 6s. He's not a power hitter. He's more of a touch player. A little bit like someone in the mould of a Kane Williamson. Shots all around the ground. He's a class batsman.
Yes. I mean, that's the reason we are putting the right arm spin of Afzal, hoping that he can get the left-hander out. You know, but he's a class player. You cannot take that away from him. You know, he doesn't need to hit 6s. You know, if he can maneuver the ball in the gaps, what for?
Yeah, it's fascinating to hear the thoughts of Mahmoud Abdullah, the Kuwaiti team manager. And just before we let him go, I'm going to ask him one more question. We'll let him go at the end of this over, get back to his duties, because I know he has lots of things to be attending to. But you've got 4 or 5 months to build up to the next qualifier on the road to the Asia Cup 2020. That will give you lots of time to put plans in place to maybe go and surprise the big guns and take the qualification spot.
The plan's already there. I mean, we have given contracts to 20 players, 14 of them here, 6 of them back in Kuwait. But that doesn't mean that we will not increase the number. So, and there will be training nearly every day in the night times. You know, we train them because a lot of them are working. They are amateurs. They're not professional. You know, this is not their full-time job. So, coaches with them all the time. The assistant coach, myself, is there to support them, and we will be training them, preparing them, and hopefully we are aiming to have a bilateral series by, we don't know which country yet, but we want to try and do that, so to give more, again, international exposure.
And that would be a series you would hopefully host in Kuwait?
In April, yes, it is. But the bilateral series, it depends. We are hoping between now and April to take the team somewhere here close by, even Nepal if possible. We would like to play against people who are countries who are above us to improve on our status if we can, plus also a ranking, plus also to gain more experience. And that.
To be the best, you've got to play against the best, and we're going to
Correct.
bid you farewell on those thoughts. Mahmoud Abdullah,
Thank
Kuwait
you very
team
much.
manager.
Thank you
so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Brilliant to hear the thoughts. And as Mahmoud goes back across to the team dugout, he brought about 2 wickets for this Kuwait team during his stint in the commentary box. And the game interestingly poised. 12 overs gone. The hundreds just come up from that outside edge from Mohammed Usman. And perhaps just a little surprising, we haven't seen the leg breaks yet into the attack for Kuwait. We might see them sooner rather than later. But continuing this trial by spin at the moment. Pradeep Wasantha's bowling beautifully. The youngster bowls very differently to Mohammad Aslam, much flatter and quicker through the air and gets good bite out of the pitch. That one's hit into the leg side by Cherif Suri. Plenty of time to get back for 2. The running between the wickets from the UAE has been outstanding. The best I've seen all week. This is the first time I've had the pleasure to commentate on the UAE with Barney Reid, my colleague, who's now departed back to Dubai, back to work for Barney. Big shout out to him, I'm sure he's watching on. But yeah, Barney Reid was doing all of the Group B games and indeed did the UAE versus Qatar semi-final over on the Academy Turf Oval 2 yesterday. So I got my first view of Kuwait yesterday as they were really dominant over Bahrain in the semi-final. Before now in the final today, getting my first look at the UAE side in this tournament. And it's a very different squad. Of course, UAE having all their well-publicised off-field issues leading up to that T20 World Cup qualifier. They also have a new head coach because Robin Singh has come in place of Dougie Brown. Robin Singh, the former Indian international, has come in for Dougie Brown, who did a wonderful job with the UAE over the past 3 or 4 years. So Robin Singh's first tournament in charge. He's looking to finish it with the silverware and take the trophy by beating Kuwait here. Try and take the crown of this Asian Cricket Council Western Region T20 qualifier. Just chipped into the leg side. None of the batsmen who've come to the crease, with the exception of Cherif Suri, have found scoring really fluent. And Kuwait won't be overly unhappy right now. The UAE 108 for 2, going around at 8 and over. And if they can finish strongly and restrict the UAE to around that 160 mark, they'll be pretty happy. So 13 overs gone, it's 108 for 2. So another change in bowling. Going to go back to the skipper, Mohammad Aslam. No sign of the leggy yet. So just as we saw the change in field, with fine leg being sent to third man, What does the batsman do? He immediately paddles it over his shoulder. Really good batting from Mohammed Usman. He's going to get back for 3. So just a slight break in play as Chirag Suri gets his equipment in gear. We're on to a Nelson now, UAE 111. It is a very different climate today, it feels like. A very different weather day even. The climate of the Gulf usually so predictable, but it's humid and sticky, a bit cloudy today. After 4 glorious days of sunshine. Really good miss. Look at that from Chirag Suri. The throw was flat and quick, and the stump keeper whipped the bails off, but Chirag Suri was always getting home. Yes, the UAE won the clash between these very two sides at this ground by 47 runs in the group stages. UAE that day made 186 for 5. Kuwait could only muster 139 in the chase. And it was Chirag Suri and Rohan Mustafa with half centuries that day. Mustafa unlucky not to add another half century today, giving out LBW. One of the foreign batsmen of the tournament for Kuwait also made runs. Ravi Sandrowan, he made 49 off 32 in the chase, but Wahid Ahmed and Zohar Khan closed out the win for the UAE. Yeah, lovely bowling. Good change of pace from Mohammad Aslam, much flatter this time. Coming a little bit round arm as well. He mixes things up really nicely. Powered down towards our commentary position, straight towards long off. He's dropped the catch, and the balls ended up coming right in front of us. A really tough chance for Mohammed Amin. He stretched his arms full into the sky, and he just got a fingertips to them. But it burst through his hands and travelled on all the way for 6. It was hit powerfully and flat by Mohammed Usman. Floated up outside the off stump, come through the line. I'm just going to stick with it. The replay, we won't see the drop catch. I'll try and bring it to you now. You can see he just floated temptingly outside the off stump, powered down the ground. Mohammed Usman thought he was in trouble. He did get 2 hands to it, but he had to try and keep his body inside the rope to prevent the 6. The ball burst through his fingertips. End result is 6 runs. At the end of 14 overs, 6 to go. The UAE won 21 for 2. It's a hot and humid day, so just a quick break for a drink for Chirag Suri in particular, who's been out there all 14 overs. There's the bowling figures. Really surprised not to see the leg spinner utilised yet today. Part-time off breaks of Afzal Ashraf, the ones that are being trusted at the moment. He has taken a wicket, but the big surprise is Mohammed Aslam, the Kuwaiti captain, so effective, tournament's leading wicket taker. He's got none for 32 from his 3 overs. So will we see a 6th bowler used by Kuwait? Not just yet. Pradeep Wasant is going to continue his left arm spin. That one skews off the inside edge, nearly chops on. Usman Patel, the Kuwaiti keeper, one of the most stylish glovemen in the tournament. Tidies up. Slog sweep, straight to the man, and it's fallen in front of him. And it's gone on for 4 more, so 2 in a row for Mohammed Amin. The ball following him around. This time, it bounces just in front of him, loops over his leg. He couldn't prevent the 4 or pull off the catch. Would have been a hell of a catch. Into the offside this time. Going to be no run there. So UAE just starting to get away. Remember, Kuwait won the toss and decided to have a bowl this morning. Now the sun coming out for the first day, but brilliant batting. That's what the UAE have done so well. And a good piece of fielding. First class, cutting off the boundary. So we'll keep that one to 2. This is what the UAE have done so well, showing off their dynamism with the bat. Not just powerful shots down the ground, but also using the pace on deliveries. Behind square on the off and leg side. And that turn and bite is going to bring about 2 more runs to the total and 2 free runs as the umpire signals wide. Run rate just nudging up towards 9 and over for the first time. With those 2 wides. Going on to the score. Chirag Suri, can he bat through? Right the way through. Start to go large towards the end of this innings. Haven't seen the power game from Chirag Suri, but a lot of style, a lot of grace. Really elegant batsman to watch. Should be 2 here as well. Easy 2 for Chirag Suri as it beats the backward point fielder. Deep extra cover's got to come around and tidy up. So a good over for the UAE. 10 runs coming from it. That's going to end Pradeep Wasantha's spell. He's got 4 overs, 1 for 28. A young bowler to watch for the future. Always love to see a bowler bowling glasses myself, being a bespectacled spinner as well. And Pradeep Wasantha no different, following in the footsteps of the great Daniel Vettori. So a good spell of bowling from him. 4 overs, 1 for 28. We're still not going to see the leg spinner. Not altogether too sure why. Look determined to just use 5 bowlers. These part-time off breaks of Afzal Ashraf are being utilised, and as we heard the Kuwait manager Mahmoud Abdullah say, that's perhaps because we've always had a left-hander on in at the crease for the UAE, not trusting the leg spinner to bowl to the left-hander. Down the track, hit into the sky, going to be a chance at long on, and taken. So these part-time off breaks are doing a bit of a job. Mohammed Kashif takes a really good catch at long on. That's the 3rd wicket to fall. Down the track, he didn't quite get to the pitch of it, and it skewed off the under edge of Mohammed Usman's bat. Perhaps just a sign of the pressure that was being applied by Kuwait and the fact that Chirag Suri isn't finding the boundary with great regularity. He's working the ball about beautifully, but no big hits and no sixes. So the batsman is gone. Mohammed Usman falls for 28 from 19 deliveries. 2 4s and 1 6 for him. Third wicket down and some relief for this Kuwaiti bowling attack. Coming through perhaps the most unlikely of sources, Afzal Ashraf. His part-time mixed bag of off-spinners and darting seamers. Just doing a bit of a job for his skipper. Down the track, Chirag Suri wants 2. He's found the gap between, but a really good piece of fielding keeps it to just a single. That one's powered into the sky. Has he got enough of it? He has. Didn't get anywhere near the delivery. But off his first ball, what a shot that is from Wahid Ahmed. Six runs, high and handsome, down the ground. Floated up teasingly. Just threw his hands through it. First I thought it might be going down. The throw would have long off, but it soars over his head. 2 deliveries left of Afzal. Flatter this time, just going to be a single. Wahid Ahmed not happy with that one. He wants more boundaries. A clear signal of intent. Wahid Ahmed coming in to force the run rate. Get UAE up towards 200 if they can. Dropped, maybe not dropped, actually hit into the ground, back to the bowler. A bit of a crowd catch there, deceiving me. So 16 overs gone. The UAE 141 for 3. Wahid Ahmed thrown in up the order today, up to number 5 to clearly force the agenda of getting this run rate up. And I was wondering when we were going to see the leg spinner Shiraz Khan Cherif, and we're finally going to see him, but it's the 17th over of the match. So at most he can bowl 2 overs now. Finally the left-handers gone from the crease. That has to be the factor. 2 right-handers in. Beautiful bowler this Shiraz Khan Cherif. Slightly harshly adjudicated wide perhaps. Wide outside the off stump. Given wide by Rahat Ali Chowdhury of Saudi Arabia. Slightly over pitched, powered down the ground for a single. So it has to be a tactic that they don't want the leg spinner Shiraz Khan bowling to a left-hander, and that's why we're only seeing him for the first time now in the 17th over of the match. Down the track towards cow corner, and the catch is taken. Chirag Suri just couldn't quite get going with boundary hitting towards the tail end of his innings. So he's going to fall for 60, and the introduction of leg spin from Shiraz Khan has done the trick. Picks outside Muneeb in the deep. That's the 4th wicket to fall. Beautiful bowler Shiraz Khan. Flat leg breaks down the track from Chirag Suri. All he can do is pick out cow corner straight down his throat, and he holds a simple catch. So that's the demise, the end of Chirag Suri. 60 from 41 deliveries. A good knock for what is now the tournament's leading run scorer. Just 8 fours in his innings, no maximums. But the Emirati opener has got the UAE off to a good start. Beautifully bowled. Why oh why is Shiraz Khan, the star leg spinner for Kuwait, only bowling his first over in the 17th over? Obviously the tactic to not want him bowling to left-handers is going to cost Kuwait here. He can only bowl 2 overs at best now. New man to the crease for the UAE, Alassane Sharifu. But yeah, Chirag Suri has gone past Ravi Jasandharwan in that innings. He's now got 239 runs in the tournament. We've seen almost everything this week, but we haven't seen a century. Kamran Khan, the top score of 88. Short ball from Shiraz Khan this time, just pulled down the ground for a single. A really good first over this from Shiraz Khan, just dragging Kuwait back into the game. Yeah, the 3-star batsman you'd have to say in the tournament. They will get through for the single. Mohammed Amin's pretty average day in the field continues. He dropped a catch that burst through his hands for 6. Conceded a 4 as well, but super start from the leg spinner. 1 for 5 from his solitary over. He's only going to be able to bowl one more. He'll probably bowl the penultimate over of the match. Penultimate over of the first innings even. But yeah, the 3-star batsman in this tournament, it has to be said, Chirag Suri of the UAE, 239 runs at an average of 60, strike rate of 130. But what about Ravi Sandharwan? We're going to see him open the batting for Kuwait in this final. And if he gets a big score, who's to say we won't be in for another upset? He's got 207 runs at an average of 69, but what a strike rate. 176, striking right the way up towards 2 runs a delivery. And then the 3rd-star man, the only other one to go over 200 runs in this tournament, Kamran Khan of Qatar. Made back-to-back T20 I-50s to start the week, including taking a sickening blow to the side of his head. Passed a concussion test at the end of day 2, though, and was cleared good to play. On the bowling front, it's Mohammad Aslam, the star for Kuwait, but he hasn't had a good day with the ball. 3 overs, none for 32. Before today, he had 11 wickets for just 71 runs. Remarkable numbers, but today hasn't been his day as the UAE have treated him harshly. Mohammed Nadeem, the other left-arm spinner, second in the rankings at the moment with 9 wickets, and then Abdul Majid Malik, another left-arm spinner from Bahrain, and Junaid Sadiq from the UAE tied on 8 wickets. See a few of those stars from the UAE later. Zahor Khan, Ahmed Raza, Ronnie Mustafa with the ball. But for now, back live with the perfect Yorker. It's Saeed Muneeb. A fast bowler will come in and probably deliver the final 2 overs from this, the pavilion end. You're watching us live from the Oman Cricket Academy grounds in Al Amarat in Oman. We're about 15 to 20 minutes, 20 kilometers outside of the original old downtown Muscat. Quite sensational setup here. World-class facilities in the Gulf. Good bowling. Finds a block hole again. Just going to be a single. Even if Mohammad Aslam had picked it up and affected the direct hit, the batsman probably would have got home. been really entertaining stuff so far today. It's an innings that has ebbed and flowed, and Kuwait absolutely playing their part. The opening partnership from Mustafa and Suri put the UAE on top, but they're fighting back. Any work to do in the deep, picked up cleanly, could be out with a direct hit, would have been out. Good work from Shiraz Khan, one of the star fielders for this Kuwaiti side. Picked up cleanly, but couldn't affect the direct hit from about 45 yards away. The dive had to come out from Ahsan Sharifu, but he would have been caught short with a direct hit. UAE just struggling to find the boundaries in this latter stage of the innings, with the exception of that big six from Wahid Ahmed. Remember, Wahid Ahmed promoted up the order today. Looks for the wide Yorker, but too wide. Kuwait have 15 deliveries left. It's 150 up for the UAE, brought up with that wide. Kuwait have 15 deliveries remaining to try and restrict this UAE total. We heard from Mahmoud Abdullah, the Kuwait team manager, that he wanted to try and keep the UAE to 160. Be a Herculean effort at this point. That one's powered down the ground. It's going to soar into the sky. The fielder's out there, but it's going to go over his head. Exceptional power and striking from Wahid Ahmed, the second six of his short innings. Over extra cover. There's a man posted out there, but it's gone over his head. Look at that for a shot. Again, Saeed Manib looking for the block hole, but the problem is, if you don't find the block hole, you end up bowling it into the slot. Wahid Ahmed licked his lips and happily accepted that one. 6 more to the total. Power down the ground, long offs in the circle. This could be a chance to long on. No, it's not. It's going to go over his head again. Back-to-back doses. Almost a carbon copy, really. Soaring over the head of that strangely positioned fielder. He's a very wide, deep extra cover. Mid-offs in the circle. Such power from Wahid Ahmed. This gamble of promoting him up the order is paying off. The third six of his innings. Again, into the slot. That's the problem. If you're searching for the block hole and you miss your length by just 12, 18 inches, that's what can happen. Outside the off stump and too wide. So this over all of a sudden turning into a crucial one for the UAE. $17 runs coming from it already. I just wondered, does Mohammad Aslam rue his decision to not close out his spell himself? Maybe hold back Saeed Manib for just the final over. He should see the leg spinner Shiraz Khan bowl the next over. No ball called. The second no ball of the innings. We're going to have a free hit. But Wahid Ahmed is not going to be able to get back on strike. But for the second time this innings, Saeed Manib is guilty of overstepping. And Afzal Sher Khan, the standing umpire from the Oman Cricket Board, gets the left arm out to indicate no ball. And it's followed up by the right arm lassoing through the air. As you see on your screen there, it's a free hit. And it's a free hit to Alishan Sharifu. It's straight to long on. It's going to go over his head. It's going to be 6 runs. Pradeep Wasanta's misjudged that. He's run in initially thinking it was coming straight to him, but the ball just kept travelling towards him. He did get a hand on it. The drop catch doesn't really matter because it was a free hit, but failing to rein it back from travelling for 6 does. That's a really expensive over. 25 runs coming from it. Advantage UAE. Here's the replay. You can see he's run in Pradeep Wasanta. If he stayed on the rope, he'd have been able to palm that back in. Costly mistakes here for Kuwait. Shows the small margins with which the game of 2020 cricket is played. Moments ago, Kuwait were the happier of the two sides over the course of the last 30 or 40 minutes. But it's now advantage UAE after that mammoth over. Take a quick look at the over by over. We should just have time. And what you're going to see is one absolute skyscraper. Look at it there. The most expensive over of the innings by over double the amount of any other. Back live with you now. Beautifully bowled. Why oh why is Cherif Khan only bowling his second over of the innings? He's the star leg spinner in this team. For me, he's their best bowler. And for some reason, in the 19th over, the penultimate over of the match, he's only bowling his second over. He's got 1 for 5. The last over went for 25. Even Wahid Ahmed is finding the leggy difficult to get away. So perhaps a real tactical error from Kuwait. One they're going to rue. Because who's going to bowl the last over now? Will it be Saeed Manib? Will Mohammad Aslam, the left arm spinner himself, the captain, take on the duties? Hammered down the ground, but again, no real power and just going to be a single. This is brilliant bowling. Just going to check those graphics on the screen for you because the misfield's going to allow a single. Mohammed Amin's poor day in the field continues. Not too sure what he was doing there. Yeah, we're just going to get those graphics updated because the first ball of the over was a dot ball, not a single. And we've had 3 consecutive singles to follow that up, and you can see the team just getting them correct now. This one down the track, really brilliant from Cherif Khan. He's not just brilliant with the ball, he's brilliant in the field. Why, oh why, is he just bowling his second over of the innings? He can close out this spell. Brilliant. What a 12 deliveries those are. He's bowled the 17th and the 19th overs of the match. And he's bowled 2 overs, 1 for 8. That for me is a big error. You have to back your leg spinner, whether he's bowling to a left-hander or a right-hander. And that's what Kuwait haven't done there. But an outstanding 19th over, and as if to illustrate my point, have a look at the Manhattan graph. 18th over the match going for 25, the 19th going for just 3. And what that means is that Aslam, his options to bowl the final over are either himself. Saeed Manib's just been smashed for 25, so surely it won't be him. Or Mohammad Ansar, who really only operates at medium pace, and he's going to have to gamble and go with himself. Hasn't had the best day with the ball. The tournament's leading wicket taker, 3 overs, none for 32. But he's going to lead from the front, take on the responsibility of trying to close out these final 6 deliveries. He's going to come over the wicket. And he's going to be smashed into the sky for a gigantic 6. And it's going to cannon into the Oman Cricket Academy building, very nearly smashing into the glass. But fortunately, there was evasive action taken by the UAE bench. The skipper was running for cover. Take a look at the replay. Look at this for a strike. Speared into the pads, but right into the hitting arc. Wahid Ahmed promoted up the order, and it cannons into the building. Back live, he's coming around the wicket now. He's going to be smashed into the sky, and this one's coming right towards us. And it goes above us. I thought it was coming right onto my head for a moment. 6 more, back to back. Gigantic 6s, brilliant batting this from Wahid Ahmed for the 2nd time of the week. We've got a chance at a Herschel Gibbs. Could we see 6 maximums? The shout's 2 more. Why isn't the shout 4 more? That one was bigger than the first. It's gone on to the 2nd tier. Here's the replay. He came around the wicket this time, Mohammad Aslam. But right into the slot, and look at the power. Right out of the middle of the bat. Just for a moment, you can almost see us underneath our canopy there. I thought it was coming onto our head. Chiku was running for cover. My hands up trying to get one hand in it, but it's gone into the 2nd tier. 6-6, here we go. It's going to be 3 in a row. Herschel Gibbs has done it in the Cricket World Cup. Yuvraj Singh has done it in the T20 World Cup. Are we going to see it here in the Asian Cricket Council Western Region? 36 runs in an over is on. And Mohammad Aslam, the skipper, bowling the final over of the match with his left arm spin, has been dispatched for 3 consecutive sixes. Wahid Ahmed on the verge of a half century, 44 off just 14 deliveries. He throws the bat at it quite literally because the bat flies into the sky. Can't accuse Wahid Ahmed of not trying to hit that one for 6, but he's given it such a hammer that the bat has flown further than the ball. Skews off the outside edge. Let's take a look at the replay of that. What a final over this is. He was looking for 4 maximum 6s, and instead he tossed the bat out of his hands into the sky. Soaring. They'll get through for a single. He wants a change of gloves. He thinks it's a change of gloves that he requires. You can see there. He says he's sweated too much. He's hit the first 3 for 6. Started to get a bit excited. Was probably thinking about doing a Herschel Gibbs. Back live. Hammered down the ground towards Pradeep, who takes a brilliant catch. That is absolutely outstanding. Pradeep Wasantha. He juggles it, but he clings on. He's a left-hander himself. He was going to his left. And that is an outstanding catch. One of the catches of the tournament. Look at that for a catch. Brilliant. Juggles and clings on. Clearly taking the ball above the turf, just about a yard inside the rope. No great celebrations. And the reason there hasn't been great celebrations is because the UAE have flown at the tail end of this innings. Already 19 runs coming from this final over. Alishan Cherif, who could never really get going. He's been caught out by the left arm spin. Left arm spin twins, really. Mohammad Aslam, the tournament's leading wicket taker, backed up by a superb catch from Pradeep Wasantha. Down at long on, right in front of us here. So in now at number 7 for the UAE is Sultan Ahmed. It was looking unlikely just a couple of overs ago, but the UAE might be able to post a total or a target of 200. They might be able to post 199 with a maximum off this final delivery. He's going to come around the wicket, left-hander. And we are going to have a total of 199 because that is not an over that the tournament's leading wicket taker is going to want to remember. He's been dispatched for the second over that's gone for 25 in this innings. So the 20th over of the innings and the 18th over of the innings have both gone for 25. That is 2 overs that account for 50. You take those out of the game, it might be advantage Kuwait, but right now it's definitely advantage UAE. Kuwait are going to need to chase down 200 to win. Look at this, right into the slot, looking for the block hole, couldn't quite get there. And despite the fact it's the first ball, look at that, soaring into the sky. Doesn't matter for Sultan Ahmed. Himself and Wahid Ahmed have made batting look easy. What a knock from Wahid Ahmed, and he gets a big fist bump from Peter Kelly, the assistant coach, team manager. UAE outstanding, 199 for 5 from their 20 overs, and it's a very happy camp on the sidelines. Through large parts of their innings, they couldn't quite get going. But right at the tail end, due to those incredibly expensive 18th and 20th overs, they've been given a huge boost. So Chirag Suri, 60 off 41 deliveries, the tournament's leading run scorer. He top scores again, but the star man for me, by quite a distance, Wahid Ahmed. 45 off 15, some devastating power down the ground, and a pair of wet gloves. We might have had 6 sixes in an over. The bat flying out of his hands as he looked to hit a 4th consecutive 6 in his final over. He thought he was going to put his name up in lights next to Herschel Gibbs, next to Yuvraj Singh, but he couldn't quite do it. A superb knock nonetheless. 45 not out from 15 deliveries, and these bowling figures are ones that Kuwait fans are going to want to look away from now, because Mohammad Ansar, 3 overs, none for 29. Saeed Monib, 3 overs, none for 42. Extra stay, really, for Mohamed Aslam. Hammered for 25 in his final over. He was only bowling that final over because Saeed Manib had been hammered for 25 in the 18th over. And the big tactical error, Shiraz Khan, their star leg spinner, only bowled 2 overs. 1 for 8, and that's why that bowling card is such a lopsided look to it. Learnings for Kuwait from that bowling innings for certain. That's the state of play at the halfway stage. UAE 199 for 5 will be the champions of this Asian Cricket Council Western Region T20 qualifier, or will Kuwait pull off a big upset? They'll need to get 10 and over exactly. It's going to be 200 to win. Find out if they can do it with us in about 15 minutes' time. So, good morning and welcome back to the wonderful Academy, Oman Cricket Academy turf grounds here. Andrew Leonard with you. And we are back live for every ball of this run chase, as we're going to find out whether or not the UAE will take the title of Asian Cricket Council Western Region Champions, or whether it's going to go to those men on your screen from Kuwait. They're going to have a big task on, because they're going to need 10 runs and over right from the get-go. 200 to win, 199 the total that the UAE have made. Really impressive. And remember, this is a UAE bowling attack that defended a paltry 122 yesterday. So whatever words that Mr. Robin Singh, the new UAE head coach, had overnight and this morning to his side, have ended up working the oracle, because his batting lineup, particularly the power of Wahid Ahmed down in the middle order, promoted up to number 5 for the first time this week. He smashed 45 off 15 deliveries, including 3 consecutive sixes in the final over. For the UAE opening the bowling, it's going to be Junaid Siddiqui. Such a varied and impressive bowling attack, this Emirati one. It's a side in a rebuilding phase at the moment, but they're rebuilding really well. They've got to be favourites to take this title now. So, opening the batting for Kuwait is going to be their usual opening partnership of one of the star men of the tournament, Ravi Sandrawan, joined by the keeper batsman Usman Patel. Yeah, Ravi Sandrawan has only one person ahead of him in the leading run scorer charts of this tournament, and that is the man who top scored in the first innings. That's Chirag Suri. Just a little outside edge to get the innings underway with a single. But this bowling attack from the UAE is right up there amongst the associate sides. We've got the seam bowling of Wahid Ahmed and Zahur Khan. Wait till you see the spin twins in operation later in the innings. The captain Ahmed Raza alongside Rohan Mustafa. So it's a very tall task facing this Kuwait side, let alone to bridge the gap in the rankings between the teams. And we add Junaid Siddiqui into that mix of this bowling attack, who's opening up the bowling. You really do have a test for any side, let alone a side ranked 13 places beneath the UAE. Coming into this week, this qualifier, which is part of the road to the Asia Cup 2020, you'd have had to think that UAE and potentially Oman were the two favoured sides, but Oman not only couldn't make it for one of the 2 qualification spots, they couldn't make it out of their group. Beautifully bowled. As the batsman on the walk, immediately you can see the extra pace that the Emirati bowlers operate at starting to cause problems for the Kuwait openers, but a lot's on the shoulders of Ravi Sandrawan earlier in the week against the UAE. These two sides both facing off in Group B, so they've already played each other once this week. UAE running out comfortable victors that day on this very oval. What a shot that is. Top edge. Could be half a chance in the deep. It's going to be the first wicket. What a catch. He's looked to go for the paddles sort of scoop shot, trying to get it over fine leg, probably. And all he's ended up doing is getting it skying off a top edge, and that's a disastrous start to this Kuwait chase. Patel falls for a duck, and Junaid Siddiqui strikes. fine leg was up in the circle, deep square leg out. Deep, so I think he's tried to look for the ramp shot, but never really getting down and into position. Deep backward square leg comes in and takes a really good catch. So easy for that to pop out. That's Sultan Ahmed out there at deep square leg, a really good catch. Disastrous start for Kuwait. They're 1 for 1. So the new man to the crease in at number 3, with number 3 in his back, is Bilal Mohammed Tahir Bilal, more commonly known as Bilal Tahir, but our graphics giving him the full 4 names at the bottom of the screen. So 1 over gone, 1 for 1 the score. Let's take a quick look at the UAE batting card. Built around a platform at the top from Chirag Suri, who made 60 off 41. Rohan Mustafa, so unlucky to fall, adjudicated LBW. On our replays, it looked like it came off the bat. Mohammed Usman, 28 off 19, but the star man, Waheed Ahmed, 45 off 15 deliveries, smashing the ball absolutely everywhere. And we're going to see Rohan Mustafa's off breaks open the innings. Chatting to him yesterday about how he finds the block hole with such regularity. Ball's fast, flat, off breaks. And the number 3 is away. Bilal Tahir gets it up for a single, and Ravi Sandaran comes on to strike. Look at that, speared in, full and straight. And yeah, Rohan Mustafa was crediting the former UAE coach, the one before Dougie Brown, Akib Javed. Oh, look at that power down the ground. It cannons in to the right of Rohan Mustafa. I wonder, is he okay? He's hit that powerfully. It's nearly gone all the way for 4 off his foot. It wasn't a catching chance. But look at the power that Ravi Sandaran possesses. I'm just going to bring it to you once more. Cannoning. It was actually into his left foot, on his right foot, but no harm done. Back live with Rohan Mustafa spearing in that delivery, fast and straight. But yeah, Ravi Sandaran has made a real name for himself in this Kuwait side. He's going to need to get a big score today to give Kuwait a chance of lifting this Western region title. Beautiful bowling. It's quite remarkable how often Rohan Mustafa hits that area right around the popping crease up with the batsman's toes. Drags his length back that time. Just going to be a single. Good tight over from Mustafa. His boot saving the boundary. That's why we see him limping away, struggling to jog to the far end. But Kuwait yet to really get moving. After 2 overs, the score is 6 for 1. So Junaid Siddiqui's going to continue. It's my first view on commentary. Andrew Leonard bringing you these pictures here for the Asian Cricket Council. My first view of this UAE side, this new youthful UAE side. So well captained by Ahmed Raza. He's a real leader of men. I love to see a spin bowler as captain of your team in cricket. Thinking cricketers. Spinners. Doing a really effective job as captain. He led his country so admirably on home soil during the ICC T20 World Cup qualifier. His side came up short, but given the complete chaos that was ongoing in the background with players suspended and player absconding as well, disappearing back to Pakistan, he led them through the adversity so well. Direct hit would have been close, and a nasty incident as Ravi Sandran ends up running into the stumps. Hope he hasn't done himself a mischief. Really nice to see Junaid Siddiqui go over and check on his well-being, immediately help him. Just see the replay of this. It was hit towards backward point. It clearly wasn't a run, but Ravi Sandran so keen to get down onto strike. He came down a few steps. The throw came in. A direct hit would have been very close, might have been out. And the problem for Ravi Sandran is he slipped and he cannoned into the stumps. And he's just ended up doing himself a little bit of a mischief, and Qatar backroom team, or sorry, the Kuwait backroom team even, coming on and helping Ravi Sandran with a little bit of the magic spray and a quick drink of water. Peter Kelly, the UAE S&C coach, assistant coach and manager. Multiple roles Peter plays, just on as well to assist. It's a tournament that's been played in the very highest of spirits this week. I'm not just saying that. All 8 teams, it's been competitive. They've been out to win, but we've seen great moments of sporting gestures between all the sides. As we heard from Kuwait captain last night, Mohammed Aslam, the scale of sacrifice and the amount that some of these boys give up in the associate world to chase their dreams is just mammoth. Driven powerfully down the ground. That's going to be the first boundary. Really good shot from Bilal Tahir. Overpitched by Junaid Siddiqui. And just for half a moment, he might have thought he was in with a chance of a catch, but straight as a die, 4 runs. Yeah, perhaps just half a chance, maybe one that the likes of a Chris Jordan or one of the fine exponents of catching off their own bowling. So difficult as a fast bowler. He just delivered the ball down at 85 miles an hour. Split second reactions. Didn't even get close to hand it. He's going to come around the wicket now, Junaid Siddiqui. Short punished. Really poor delivery. That's sit up and hit me. And the first cheers ring out from the Kuwait dressing room. It's taken them till the 3rd over to get going, but back-to-back boundaries start to get the scoreboard ticking. Yeah, the change of angle ends up just with a real half-tracker, a buffet ball outside the off stump. Just stand up and hit me. Good batting, good power shown. 2 fielders out at the moment, a deep backward square leg and a 3rd man, so no one outside the circle, straight down the ground or in the deep on the offside. Good comeback. Good Yorker, looks for the quick single. Direct hit's going to be close. Good fielding from Rohan Mustafa. He's equally adept at all 3 versions of the game, batting, bowling and fielding. Picked up cleanly. Direct hit would have been close. Full into the block hole. Really good Yorker. The call was immediate, but the piece of fielding from Ronnie Mustafa was first class. Direct hit would have been close. You could see from his reaction, he thought it would have been out. Slower ball attempted. It turns into a full toss. The moment Ravi Sandaram thought that was going to be a big waist-high full toss, he thuds his pads with his bat in disappointment. 9 runs coming from the over, the most expensive of the innings so far. Kuwait, they're 15 for 1 in the chase. So third boundary from the bat of Bilal Tahir. Rare loose delivery from Rohan Mustafa. Just back of a length, short and wide outside the off stump. And well put away by Bilal Tahir. Yeah, so rare you see Rohan Mustafa do that. Just dropping short and wide. Carted through the offside, powerfully for 4. His 2 fielders in the deep, they're out at long off and deep backward square leg. Good batting. UAE fielders in the 30-yard circle, right on the edge of the 30-yard circle. So that's what Kuwait need to try and do. Pick up a couple of boundaries per over if they can. And then follow it up by taking 3 or 4 singles, getting that 10 runs required and over. See the graphics at the bottom of your screen, they'll keep you up to date with the required run rate. 10.8 per over to win at the moment. Look at the power that Ravi Sandaram possesses. Smashes that one straight to mid-off, can't beat the fielder. He's just itching to get going here, Ravi. He's picked out the man again, but a misfield. That's really poor at mid-off. He's dived right over that. Should have got something behind it. Zohar Khan, a big fast bowler. He's dived over that one. That's going to get Ravi Sandaram's account starting to move. His first boundary. Just loves to hit the ball straight down the ground. So he hasn't quite taken the shackles off yet, but just showing signs here. Starting to tick. They're going to need Ravi Sandaram to take this innings deep for Kuwait. Lovely to see. Just talking about how brilliant the spirit is that we've seen in this tournament. Yeah, and you can see there Mohammed Usman running over 25 yards from short fine leg and offering to tie the batsman's lace. Very good. Powered into the offside. This could be another boundary. It hasn't come out of the middle of the bat, but it's going to skew away with the spin and just be cut off in the deep. Poor running will keep him to just 2. Noticeable lack of intent in the running between the wickets, but a good over for Kuwait, the most expensive of the innings. 12 runs coming from that 4th over. Kuwait are 27 for 1. Good to see the first change in bowling from this is the pavilion end. And Zohar Khan, who's turning in to one of the best T20 bowlers on the associate circuit. He's going to come into the attack. Brilliant exponent of death bowling in particular, hitting those wide Yorkers so effectively. We're going to see him brought in now. And he's going to be dispatched for a boundary first ball. Beautiful touch from Ravi Sandharan, just angling into his pads, and he's able to get across his stumps and work that away for 4. You can see here, that's his natural angle. Just too straight. And punished down the leg side. So Ravi Sandharan just showing signs. It was an emotional day yesterday for Zohar Khan. Those of you who might be following Paul Radley or the national newspaper in the UAE, I've read that piece where Zohar Khan dedicated his match-winning effort against Qatar yesterday to his late mother, and our condolences with Zohar Khan. He took the wicket that basically guaranteed the UAE's place. The 9th wicket to fall, and he pointed to the sky. He sent a message of love to his mother. That one comes off the top edge. Is it going to land safe? It is. Fast throw comes in, but it's off target. And if that was on target, Ravi Sandharan was in trouble. But yeah, yesterday, the UAE needed their fast bowlers. Zohar Khan taking 3 for 17. And Junaid Siddiqui, he took 4 for 12. Remember, the UAE were defending just 122. Qatar restricted to 94. In pursuit. But yeah, lovely quotes in that article from Paul Radley yesterday. I'll read you a few of those now. He said, "This performance for my mother. I feel like all her prayers from heaven are with us all here." But yeah, the UAE were in trouble yesterday. And when you're defending a small total like 122, you need your bowlers to be the best, and they really were. So both of these sides are going to go on to the next phase of this road to the Asia Cup 2020. But back on the pitch here, we're playing out for the title, the trophy. All the prizes starting to be laid out in front of us. And the game is still up for grabs. Zohar Khan, number 19, on his back there. You can see him on your screen. Such an impressive bowler. Full bag of tricks. Round the wicket now. Driven into the offside. Can't pierce the infield. Has to be said, I think strategically Kuwait still have a little bit to learn about their cricket, but that's exactly what their manager Mahmood Abdullah was saying. The more exposure they get at international level, the better sides they can play against. I loved hearing that, hearing the fact that he doesn't want to play against sides ranked 50th in the world or those below him. They want to play against sides better than them. They're out there looking for a bilateral series. They'd love to go to Nepal, try and learn from Nepal in those conditions in Kathmandu. But yeah, certainly a little bit of game awareness that Kuwait could learn in the field. It's a slower ball bouncer. Zohar Khan thought it might have been edged and carried through, but clearly bouncing short of the keeper. 5 overs are done, a quarter way through the chase. Kuwait, they need 50 every quarter. They have only got 34 in this one. The score 34 for 1. So another change in bowling, and we're going to see left arm spin into the attack for the first time for the UAE today. Rohan Mustafa taken out of the attack. And in comes the flat left arm orthodox of Sultan Ahmed. Bear in mind, we've got Ahmed Raza to come as well. What a trio of spinners that is to have at your disposal. Ahmed Raza, Sultan Ahmed, Rohan Mustafa. That one's powered down the ground towards long on. And that's the big wicket. Ravi Sandaran, the second leading run scorer in the tournament. He just wasn't really able to get the strike. Wasn't really able to get going this morning. And he has fallen, caught out at long on. Down the throat of Rohan Mustafa. And that's the second wicket to fall. Looked for the big hit. Never quite got any timing into it. And to be honest, he couldn't really have picked out Rohan Mustafa any better. He takes a simple catch, underarms it in. And UAE know with that, it's a huge blow in the game. We're going to see a bit of a surprise. We saw a surprise in the UAE batting lineup with Wahid Ahmed promoted up to number 5. We're going to see Saeed Manib promoted up to number 4. Kuwait realising they're well behind the 8 ball, behind the run rate required. So they're going to gamble and send in the big, powerful all-rounder of Afghan origin. Never seems to have a smile off his face. Saeed Manib so loves his cricket. But Kuwait right now, through the slightly strange weather we're experiencing here in Muscat right now. It's muggy and overcast. Feels like it's almost about to rain. I don't think it will. Kuwait are facing a tall task indeed. Have to somehow find a way to start to get the boundaries that they need. Those boundaries aren't coming. Half a misfield from Zahor Khan. He saves the boundary, but they will get through for a single. Super start this from the left arm spinner, Sultan Ahmed. And really interesting to see the UAE decide to go with spin in the power play. 3 overs of the 6 have been spinners. Something that I've no doubt the Kuwait are continuing to rue. And we are going to see some fireworks, or attempted fireworks here from Saeed Manib, because he is not going to hang about. Sent in up the order to give things a real dash. And with just 1 ball remaining in the power play, it's been all UAE so far. It's really been all UAE for much of the, not just today's match, but much of the tournament. Yesterday was the day that an upset nearly came. They only made 122 against Qatar in the semi-final. Singles are not going to cut it at the moment for Kuwait in this chase. The end of the power play. 6 overs gone. Kuwait 37 for 2. So, for the second time today, I'm delighted to have some company in the commentary box. We heard from Mahmood Abdullah earlier on, the Kuwait team manager. I'm now joined by the UAE's high performance manager, Mr. Peter Kelly, wearing multiple hats as always. Peter, SNC coach, assistant coach, team manager, but also performance manager of UAE.
Yeah, I think it's in associate cricket. It's quite a common occurrence. You know, we don't travel with big staff, but we always put different hats on.
Just get through for the single, even if Rohan Mustafa can affect the direct hit. Really appreciate you joining us in the commentary box here, Peter. You must be delighted with how this week has gone.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic opportunity for some young players to get involved and really challenge themselves in the international environment.
Yeah, it's a new youthful squad, but it's a youthful squad that also has a massive amount of experience in it. Ahmed Raza, Rohan Mustafa, Sultan Ahmed, Suhur Khan, even Chirag Suri now well experienced on the international stage. It must be nice to have those guys who've played an awful lot for the UAE to help bring through this next generation of UAE cricketers.
Yeah, it's fantastic having the experience of the likes of the people you said, and definitely the opportunity to blood some young players, and on the back of a good performance at the Under-19 World Cup. It's really great to get an opportunity for some quite young guys in the UAE, and we're really looking forward to as they grow and develop over the coming years.
That's a bit about, this is your first trip to the Western qualifier. Usually you go through automatically to the overall one, but you haven't had it all your own way. You could well close it out with 5 wins, but certainly a few wobbles, only beating Saudi Arabia by 12 runs, and then yesterday in the semi-final, 122 on the board. There must have been some nerves at halfway.
I think it's a kind of compliment to the cricket in the region. It's really fantastic for these teams to get an opportunity to compete all together, and as you can see, Kuwait have played some fantastic cricket, and so Qatar and Oman and the likes, and of course, it's always going to be that way in T20, where top chops and turns, with regards to the ebb and flow of the game.
Tell us, just after this delivery, a little bit about your background and how you got involved as that one's hammered into the deep, but straight to the sweeper fielder. How have you ended up in the UAE? You've been working with the Emirates Cricket Board for quite a while now.
Yes, I've been involved now for 6 years, so been a part of it for a while. Rugby's my background, and I kind of made my way into county cricket, working in county cricket probably 10 years ago now, and I did a good stint with Kent County Cricket Club there, and got a great opportunity to come to the Middle East and work with a developing associate nation.
Yeah, they're developing nicely under your watchful eyes, and something I've noticed that's been really fielding, running between the wickets, something that the UAE would have perhaps been a little bit poorer at in previous years. The conditioning of the boys looks to be really first class these days.
It's definitely been a push, from all the coaches we've had over the years. They're constantly pushing for guys to reach that next level, and we're always aspiring to the levels of other top associate nations, but also the full members, and it does start with their fitness levels, and but also their skill level and ability to read the game and understand what's demanded at a certain time.
There's no doubt that the skill of batting and bowling, without doubt, there. As this one's hammered down the ground towards Rohan Mustafa and towards us in the commentary box. It's going to go over his head. Just drop 6 or 7 yards inside the rope. That's why Saeed Manib has been sent in up the order. The big bustling fast bowler promoted up to number 4. I'm going to have to ask you about one of your tactical decisions today. Waheed Ahmed thrown in up at number 5. What a knock that was.
Oh, it was fantastic. He's a dangerous player, both with the bat and the ball. And, this tournament's shown that he's had an opportunity when he comes in to hit it out of the park when he can. So, really good.
Were you thinking for just a moment you might have had 6 sixes in the final over, the first 3 all going the distance?
I think, Kuwait have just shown, it's a great wicket, and there are runs there, and it's just about containing, and, the opportunities came in that last over, and fair play to Waheed, he did really well. And even Sultan coming in the last ball there as well.
Yeah, smashing that one for 6. The 20th over and the 18th over of the match both going for 25 runs, so 50 runs coming from just 2 overs, giving the UAE that big boost that got them up to 199. I'm chatting to the high performance manager of the Emirates cricket team here. That's Peter Kelly. He's really kindly come across from his duties to come and join us. Was there a little bit of pressure on you guys coming into this tournament as the leading ranked side? You're ranked 15th in the world, coming up against sides ranked all the way from Iran, who yet to get onto the rankings, making their debut. The Maldives down to 74th, but it hasn't been easy. Did you feel that extra pressure?
I think, always in these types of environments is 2020, and particularly now that everything is a T20 international, and the opportunity for regardless of ranking to push, and there's some fantastic cricketers, particularly in the region, and I think there's expectation, but it's obviously up to the guys to manage that expectation, and you're going to get put under pressure by these teams, and it's definitely shown with some of the results.
That one's heaved into the deep as Ahmed Raza comes on, and Ahmed Raza is going to strike first ball, because with this fielding outfit from the UAE, so well drilled, we saw them get balls absolutely hammered to them. Ahmed Raza strikes first ball, and Kuwait fall further. Bilal Tahir falls for 22. Not a great shot first delivery to the UAE captain. All he could do was pick out cow corner. Sultan Ahmed taking that easy catch in the deep. Never going to drop those. A safe pair of hands. And what that means is that the third wicket's gone. Yeah, that's the wicket to fall before. That's Ravi Sandharan, who went for 12. But one thing's certain, it's 47 for 3, and Kuwait in a world of trouble at the moment. Pete, tell us a little bit about what you guys have coming up. Obviously, the disappointment of missing out on the T20 World Cup later in the year, but you'll progress to the next leg of the Asia Cup qualifier, and then, of course, you'll enter the T20 World Cup qualifying for the following year in 2021 in India.
Yeah, obviously, T20 is the T20 World Cup was a disappointment to miss out, but our biggest focus moving forward is 50 over cricket. We have the ICC Cricket World Cup League 2 that's ongoing over the next sort of 2.5 years, and our next series is in the US end of next month against a strong USA side, and of course Scotland, who are one of the top associates.
Yeah, that's going to be in Florida, isn't it? In Fort Lauderdale, the first week of April. So just about 4 or 5 weeks to build up for that, as we see coming in at number 5 for Kuwait, Mohammed Kashi. Just getting it behind square on the leg side for a couple. That Cricket World Cup League 2, the part of the pathway to the 50 over World Cup, the road to India 2023. It's been uber competitive. Everyone seems to be beating each other at the moment.
Yeah, it is. It's very competitive, particularly with home advantage. And the opportunity to play these top teams in different environments is really challenging each other, and they've seen some different results going through.
We saw the USA, the league leaders, going to Kathmandu, losing all 4 games, remarkably bowled out 35 by the hosts, Nepal.
It just shows you the versatility that you have to have in these environments. You could be playing in Europe or playing in Asia, and you've got to adapt.
Maybe as well down in Africa. The UAE side will head off to America. Is that your next series of matches?
Sorry.
Is the Florida leg the next series of games?
The next series of games, we've got obviously the 4 ODIs out there against Scotland and the USA. So we're going to be building the next month into that.
How have you found managing priorities between the 2 formats? Obviously, they're both white ball formats, but there's a big difference these days between 20 over cricket and 50 over cricket. The score here at the moment, 49 for 3, Kuwait after 8 overs. The UAE heavy favourites at the moment to go on and close out this Asia Cricket Council Western Region T20 qualifier title, and they're going to continue this trial by spin. Sultan Ahmed's going to change ends, come in from the pavilion end, and such an asset to have on your side. 3 really high-quality spinners, Rohan Mustafa, the captain, Ahmed Raza, and Sultan Ahmed starting to develop into a high-quality international spinner himself. He's going to be powered into the leg side. First ball could be another opportunity in the deep, and it's going to be taken. The second catch that's gone straight to the man at Cow Corner. It's Basil Hamid, who takes a simple catch, and the gamble of promoting Saeed Manib up the order hasn't paid off. Take a look at the replay. The second time in 2 overs, the first ball of a new spell from a left-arm spinner creates a wicket. Just a length delivery. Saeed Manib trying to heave that down to the second academy ground here. But all he could do was hit it far too high into the sky. Basil Hamid takes an easy catch, and as happened earlier for Mahmoud Abdullah, when we get the team managers into the commentary box, the wickets keep falling. Tell us a bit about him. Is he an off spinner, a leg spinner? What does he do? Yeah, leg spinner is so crucial in T20 internationals. I couldn't believe that Shiraz Khan from Kuwait only bowled 2 overs. Such a beautiful leggy, and I think that left-handers in the upper order for UAE just brought about a hesitancy from him being brought into the attack. The new man at the crease is Castle. First ball, and Sultan Ahmed's going to be on a T20 hat-trick. Flatter through the air. And yet another wicket falls. In fact, it's Mohammad Kashif who's fallen because the batsman had crossed. So he's gone for 2. And Sultan Ahmed's on a hat-trick. Yeah, it's exactly what they're doing. Here's the replay on your screen. It was darted in much quicker through, and it's cannoned off the back pad and gone on to flick middle stump. Big celebrations from Sultan Ahmed. And something we saw yesterday was big celebrations from the Emirati fielders, because you're going to talk to Pete Kelly, the high performance manager of the Emirates Cricket Board, about that semi-final yesterday. You batted first and the innings fell away to be bowled out for 122. Did you think that was going to be enough? Tara Fineside themselves, a very impressive bowling lineup, and that man Cameron Khan at the top of the order, he was bounced out. That was the crucial wicket. So Mohammed Amin, it is in at number 7. Hat-trick ball. We got a slip in place, a leg slip, short catchy mid-wicket. Can he find it? Big appeal, and surely sliding down with the angle. Everyone went up, but Afzal Sher Khan kept his finger in the pocket. Let's take a look at the replay. So close to a T20I hat-trick. We've seen almost everything you'd want to see this week. We haven't had a hat-trick. We've had 5 or 6 instances of 2 and 2. Was this one just angling down? Here's the replay. Yeah, skidding on. Clearly missing leg stump. Back live with you now. Just worked down the ground for a single. I think even through myopic eyes, that was never going on to hit the stumps. Yeah, especially when it's a hat-trick. You could hear the whole team going up in unison. Really nice moment there. Kuwait in deep trouble. They're 50 for 5. I'm talking here with Peter Kelly, the high performance manager of the UAE national team, and he's got a new head coach as well, Robin Singh, in, and what a start he's having. He's played 4-1-4 at the moment, beats him outside the off stump. Must be great to have the experience of a former Indian international coming and leading the squad. It's always great to get off to a winning start and get that winning feeling going in a squad. Looks very much like they're going to make it 5 from 5 and stay perfect this week. Let's talk about the road to the Asia Cup, though. This will put you through to the main qualifier. So 2 sides here, UAE and Kuwait, will go through from the Western region. You'll join 2 teams in the Eastern region. Those 5 sides that will be playing out next week in Thailand. That's Nepal, Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong, and the host Thailand. The aspirations will be to take that one spot and get the UAE back on the stage against the likes of India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. You didn't. Sorry, Pete. You didn't just compete there. You really put it up to the test nations. Yeah, I know Fatulla well. It's certainly a lot different from downtown Dhaka. But this side, do you think it has the potential and the ability to beat test sides on its day? Yeah, and that's exactly what that would be. It will be 6 sides at the main Asia Cup later in the year. Of course, the Asia Cup rotating formats. It's the T20 format this year because it's a T20 World Cup year. Really good decision by the Asian Cricket Council. And the depth of cricket in the region. We've seen here, this is the Western region qualifier. These 8 sides in the Gulf alone, very competitive, no easy games. Yeah, it's been absolutely wonderful. Anoop, his head groundsman, and all his team done the most wonderful job. Produced good batting wickets, but even ones with a little bit in them yesterday for the seamers over on Academy Oval too. A little bit of green on grass on the pitch, creating that thrilling match between the UAE and Qatar. And it's fair to say that you're used to world-class facilities there in the UAE. You think about Dubai, Sharjah, Abu Dhabi, all superb setups. That one's powered in to the leg side, just one bounce ahead. I think Sultan Ahmed wanted him to go for the catch. That one was never travelling all the way. Good to see the intensity from your side in the field. I was talking with Ronnie Mustafa before the start of the match today. I was saying, God, it's not easy in associate cricket, is it? 5 matches in 5 days. And he said, honestly, Andrew, during Ramadan, I probably played 28 or 29 days out of 30 back in the UAE, so I'm used to it.
That is one thing in the UAE that there is a lot of cricket you guys play. They are used to playing that back. But still, there's an element of international a little bit more in the pressure is that
Yeah, anything can happen. It's a real pressure cooker, associate cricket, and every match seems to matter and every match seems to count. And yesterday, UAE could only make 122 against Qatar, ranked beneath them. And it was extraordinary, the scenes that we saw with Kuwait Bahrain beating Qatar to turn that Group A table upside down. You guys thought you might have been in for a game against Oman. Just getting past Qatar. Yeah, it looks very much like Peter Kelly, the high performance manager of the UAE, and his side are going to remain unbeaten this week. We're going to thank him for his time and coming on air to join us live right in the middle of his duties. He's going to run back. Thanks for joining us, Pete. Top drawer hearing the thoughts of Mr. Peter Kelly. And his side are well on the way to making it a perfect week, 5 from 5. And ironically, the score now 55 for 5. So lovely to have some company in the commentary box. Myself and Barney Reid have been flying solo, but at the moment, it's the 2 left arm spinners that are weaving their web. Sultan Ahmed and Ahmed Raza are making this a bit of a cakewalk for UAE. You can't help but argue that they've deserved to take the title this week. Great learnings for Kuwait and great success for them going on to qualify for the next stage. They've got 4 or 5 months to get their plans together. For Malaysia, that one's buried into the sky. Could be another chance. Not long on. It's going to be taken. The UAE fielding has been outstanding today. Really first class. The best fielding performance I've seen all week. And Afzal Ashraf is going to fall. Caught it long on. Ahmed Raza getting in on the act, joining Sultan Ahmed. We've got 5 wickets between them. Kuwait slide further, 57 for 6. Such a clever bowler, Ahmed Raza. Getting good dart into that one. Hammered down the ground. Made really good ground across to his right. The fielder takes a good sprawling catch. The new man's going to be Shiraz Khan, the batsman who's fallen, caught by Alishan in the deep at long on. Falls for 4 off 8 balls. That's Afzal Ashraf. And it's the man who didn't bowl nearly enough for my money. Coming in at number 8 now for Kuwait. Shiraz Khan, Cherif, the leg spinning all-rounder. Being a little bit lower down the order today with the risk of Saeed Manib going up the order. It's an impressive UAE side. It's been really well publicised, the issues that they've had off the pitch, but great to see a new dawn for them under the head coach Robin Singh, who's going to take home the title and continue his perfect start as the UAE head coach. They've had just 2 wobbles this week. Saudi Arabia ran them closer than they'd have liked. The UAE running out victors by 12 runs. And yesterday was a thriller. I thought the UAE had done exactly what they wouldn't have wanted to do. Won their 3 group games and then they're going to lose their semi-final. Chipped down the ground nicely by Shiraz Khan. Slip in place at the moment with Rohan Mustafa. This is a well-drilled UAE side. They're running between the wickets outstanding. They're fielding, ground fielding in the circle superb. They're catching in the deep first class. Ticking every box at the moment. Kuwait 59 for 6 and facing a next to impossible task. So Sultan Ahmed's going to continue. The 2 Ahmeds are doing the business. Sultan Ahmed and Ahmed Raza. He's dreaming of a 5-wicket haul here, Sultan Ahmed. Beautifully bowled. Beats him outside the off stump. He's bowled at a really good pace here, pushing it through, causing problems for all of the Kuwaiti batsmen. Mix up. Mohammed Amin almost sat in his bat at the non-striker's end. Shiraz Khan wanted the single, but Amin didn't. Yeah, Sultan Ahmed dreaming of a 4th or maybe a 5th wicket in this spell. He really has weaved a web around these Kuwaiti batsmen. This chase has never got going. It's always difficult when you're chasing 10 runs and over or so, but not a huge amount has gone right, and that one's just chipped down the throat of Rohan Mustafa. Another really good catch. And sheer delight for Sultan Ahmed. He's absolutely pumped up. That's his 4th wicket. And Shiraz Khan falls. The procession of Kuwaiti batsmen back to the hutch continues. Super work from Rohan Mustafa. This is a very good catch. He's made it look easy. Just a chip down the ground from Shiraz Khan. Rohan Mustafa made good ground in towards the ball and takes the catch just inches above the turf. Brilliant from the Emirati all-rounder. So that's a batsman departing for 1 from 7 deliveries. Not his day with the bat, Shiraz Khan. And coming in now at number 9 is the Kuwaiti captain. It's Mohammad Aslam. Hasn't been his day. Almost from the moment he tossed the coin in the air, he won the toss. And he said, we'll have a bowl first. You could understand why he did it. It was very strange weather this morning. And you just wondered if his seamers were going to get a little bit of assistance. They did get a little bit of assistance for the first couple of overs, but Chirag Suri and Ronnie Mustafa got through that difficult early 3 or 4 overs. And from there on in, it's been almost all the UAE. So it's all over, she wrote. The UAE are going to go on and take this Asian Cricket Council Western Region T20 qualifier. There is absolutely no doubt about that. 20 and over required, 3 wickets in hand. Sultan Ahmed sniffing out a 5-wicket haul. He won't get it. And he's not going to get the wicket maiden either, because it'll skew off the outside edge of Mohammad Amin's bat. What a spell of bowling. 4 overs, 4 for 9. Career best for Sultan Ahmed in T20 international cricket. There he is, and look at the happy face that he has. Celebrated every wicket in a big way. He gets the high five from Ronnie Mustafa. And they're just talking about the best ways to bowl on that wicket and how good a catch. Ronnie Mustafa's saying, what a brilliant catch I took. Sultan's going, oh, that was me bowling. That was me deceiving him through the flight. And Ronnie's going, that was my catch. That was my catch. That was me. That's my wicket. Great banter between the Emirati teammates. Such a character, Ronnie Mustafa. One of the standout players in the associate cricket world over the last decade or so. There's another one on your screen. Ahmed Raza. Wonderful bowler. Guile and flight from the tall 6'5" UAE captain. You really don't realise just how tall Ahmed Raza is till you stand next to him. But I think it would be fair to say he is a gentle giant. An absolute gentleman of the highest order, Ahmed Raza. And he's a brilliant leader of men. We need more people like him involved in our great game at the top level. Think of the brilliant captains in world cricket. Kane Williamson, Faf du Plessis just giving up his post from South Africa. And the great leaders of world cricket. Virat Kohli, of course, of India. Jason Holder in that mix from the West Indies, a real leader of men. But put Ahmed Raza on that list. An absolute gent. He's seen his side home to a really dominant win. Remember, this is the final. This is the best two teams in the tournament. And the UAE have completely outplayed Kuwait in every facet. For Kuwait, their job was done yesterday. Good intensity from Rohan Mustafa, even at this late stage, sprinting full pace to the ball to cut off any chance of the second. Just wait for the signal from the umpire. It's going to be signalled egg by Rahat Ali Chowdhury. Really just double checking with the batsman. Didn't come off the glove. Umpires have done well this week. All of our match officials. Looks for the paddle sweep. Ahmed Raza trying to outbowl his left arm spin partner in terms of runs conceded anyway. 4 for 9 for Sultan Ahmed. 1 delivery to go. Ahmed Raza's got 2 for 8. He's going to finish with 2 for 8. Another brilliant spell of bowling. That right there has been the winning of the game for the UAE. Those 8 overs combined. And the figures are 6 for 17 between Ahmed Raza and Sultan Ahmed. Brilliant from the spin twins. The UAE favourites anyway, but that has absolutely shut the door on this Kuwaiti innings. We're going to witness the last right. Still 6 overs to go, but no hope at all for Kuwait. We're going to see Wahid Ahmed into the attack. The man who pongoed the ball to every corner of this Oman Cricket Academy Turf 1 Oval. He hit 3 consecutive sixes off the first 3 deliveries in the final over. And just for a moment, you could almost feel the anticipation rising in the crowd. People thought we were in to witness a moment of history. And he certainly tried to hit the 4th one for 6, but the bat flew out of his hands. Something we might have to get clipped up on a replay later and bring to you on social media if you missed it, because it was power hitting of the highest quality. And it was coming off the leading wicket taker in the tournament, Mohammad Aslam. So we really are witnessing the last rites of not just the final, but the tournament. And what a tournament it's been. Eight teams came here to Oman, the beautiful Sultanate of Oman. Playing out for the two places that are on offer in the next stage of this Road to the Asia Cup 2020. But only two sides could take the qualifying spots, and the two sides on your screens are those. UAE are going to finish this tournament as champions and deserving champions. Both sides will move on to the Cup qualifier in August, which is likely to be held in Malaysia, where four sides, two from this western region and two from the eastern region, will duke it out for just the one spot. 5 test nations that automatically qualify for the Asia. What a prize that is. Going on to get guaranteed games against India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh and Afghanistan. A real carrot for all these sides that are still involved. And you'd have to think the UAE could well be favourites, not just here in this western region, which they were the highest ranked side, but in the main tournament itself. Kuwait have just not been able to get anything going, and really they're just batting out the overs now. And a bit of a net, a bit of a hit as we see the fantastic Oman cricket board staff and setup. They're all scurrying away to our right and setting up the trophies. Yeah, all the mementos. We're going to see the best batsman of the tournament, the best bowler of the tournament crowned. And of course, the main trophy itself, it's just been placed on the platter over to my right. We'll try and bring you that on our screen now. There you go. That's the trophy. And that's what the UAE will be lifting very shortly. But all the other mementos for each of the winning members of the squad. Yeah, there you can see Lakshita from the Oman cricket board laying out all the mementos. And look at that trophy. The Asian Cricket Council Western Trophy. For the Western region. UAE are going to be lifting that in just a few moments. And you can't help but say they've deserved it. There they are. Look at all the mementos coming out. Not just for the winners, but the runners-up as well. And we'll have a player of the tournament crowned later on. So into the very last rights, it's Rohan Mustafa. Bowling his off breaks. Wicketless today, very unlike Rohan Mustafa. But what a day for Sultan Ahmed. His career best, 4 for 9. Taking his 21st T20 international wicket today. Put him right in the mix for player of the match. These awards so often go to the batsman. Yeah, good fielding from Basil Hamid. This is a really well drilled UAE lineup. They've been sensational so far. will get away for a boundary. Rohan Mustafa looking to spear that Yorker in. He gets it in, but somehow Aslam just gets it behind square on the leg side. Boundary to close out the 15th over. There he is. Almost a perfect Yorker, but just straying down leg a touch, and Aslam gets it through the infield. The first boundary in quite a while. Going to bring you the Manhattan graphic on your screen, and what this is going to demonstrate is the gap between the sides. And look at those two massive twin towers towards the end of the UAE innings. 2 overs where 25 runs came from both of them. The 18th and the 20th overs of the match both went for 25. And a lot of that damage came from the bat of Wahid Ahmed. And he's the man with the ball in hand now. Cut away into the deep, just going to be a single. I suppose really the only thing Kuwait are playing for now is trying to get up to 3 figures. Can they work their way up to 100? Reduce that margin of defeat to 2 figures. Been a really one-sided final, this. UAE have simply been too good for Kuwait. What we've seen from some of the lower ranked sides in this tournament is perhaps just that touch of inconsistency. Such an impressive performance yesterday from Kuwait, beating Bahrain out of sight. Big appeal from cover. Bowler absolutely not interested. UAE keeping the intensity up. One punch down the ground. Just going to be a single, and everyone just a little bit going through the motions now. This game is over. Not even really technically possible. In fact, it's not technically possible anymore. Look at that required run rate. It's over 36 and over now. So that's all she wrote for Kuwait in this tournament. They're going to finish second. Big appeal again. Ahmed Raza trying to keep his troops going from extra cover. Trying to keep them G'd up. But the UAE have simply played Kuwait out of sight in this final. Brilliant tournaments for both sides though. Kuwait will finish with 3 wins and 2 losses. Both those losses coming against this UAE side that they will face defeat to in the final. End of the 17th over. Kuwait 76 for 7. So Rohan Mustafa is going to close out his spell from the Al Emirat end. Probably the only bowler to not really be pleased with their effort with the ball so far for the UAE. He's really striving for another wicket. The presentation party continues to ready itself. Beautiful array of trophies. Sideline, that one's hit into the deep. Rohan Mustafa get the wicket he wants. Yeah, there's all the medals and mementos. Look at that main trophy. What a trophy that is. Glittering in the sunshine. With the winners of each of those mementos going to the UAE. They will take the title. They've taken it in the most convincing of fashions. Just take one more look at that trophy. Look at that glittering away in the sunshine. And there's the medals for the runners-up. So Kuwait will be receiving them. 18 overs gone, just 2 overs remain. The score 80 for 7. That's going to be the trophy that the UAE skipper Ahmed Raza will lift for this Asian Cricket Council Western Region T20 qualifier. Here's the bowling figures. As I said, Rohan Mustafa, perhaps the only one unhappy with his effort with the ball. But the two stars, without doubt, the two left-arm spinners. Sultan Ahmed, 4 for 9, a career best in T20 international cricket for him. And 2 for 8 for Ahmed Raza, the UAE captain. We'll go back to Junaid Siddiqui, who was the star of the show yesterday. Yeah, they've been outclassed today, Kuwait. But what a brilliant tournament for them. I'm going to finish with the leading wicket taker in the tournament as well, their captain, Mohammad Aslam, and he's showing some resolution with the bat, just determined to bat out this innings, ensure that his side are not bowled out. Perhaps get his side up to 100. Can they find 20 runs from these last 11 deliveries? Haven't shown much aggressive intent, this partnership. But yeah, brilliant tournament for Mohammad Aslam. Not his day today with the ball, but that can happen as a spinner. 12 wickets he's taken in the tournament, including 2 4-wicket hauls. 4 for 5 against Iran, and 4 for 23 in the crucial semi-final yesterday, where he led his side to the next phase. 4 for 23, that was against Bahrain on this ground yesterday. And he's going to get a beautiful drive through the offside, but a good stop. It's the UAE keeping their standards high. Their fielding performance has been outstanding. Not just the best fielding performance by them this week, but by any side this week, by a distance. They've caught well, they've ground fielded well, they've backed each other up and supported each other brilliantly in the field. And it's an area that the UAE just a few years ago were very poor at their fielding. They were carrying quite a few older players. It's a new, more youthful side. And they're going to close out the win, despite the first boundary in quite a while coming from the bat of Mohamed Amin. Attempted hook shot, skewing off the top edge. And there's a boundary for Kuwait. Khan looking for the surprise short ball. Certainly rushed Mohamed Amin's hook shot off the top edge, over the head of the keeper. And a comfortable boundary. 15 they need to try and get up to 100. Reduce that margin of victory from 3 figures to 2 figures if they can. In a funny way, this may well be the most one-sided game of the week. But of course, both of these sides qualify. They both take the same prize with the exception of the silverware at the end of the day. They're both off to Malaysia. They'll be going to Malaysia for the main Asia Cup qualifier. 4 sides will battle it out. These 2 from the Western region that you're watching on the live stream. We'll be joined by 2 from 5 next week, where Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong, Nepal and the host Thailand. 5 sides playing out for the 2 spots from the Eastern region. So that closes out the penultimate over. 6 balls remain. Kuwait 85 for 7. Yeah, so Zohar Khan is going to have the figures of 3 overs, none for 11. There's the trophies. Look at those. Beautiful. Wouldn't mind getting my hands on that beautiful silver trophy myself. Stunning view. Brilliantly hosted this tournament this week by the Oman Cricket Board. Not the week that they would have wanted. Remember, they went out before the semi-finals. But they are the most fantastic hosts here in the beautiful Sultanate of Oman. If you've never made your way to the Middle East and come to Oman, do yourself a favour and get to the gorgeous scenes surrounded by the hills here. About 15 minutes outside of Muscat we are. It's going to be Junaid Siddiqui to close off the innings. He's dispatched for a boundary. Can Kuwait make it up to 100? We change that digit in front of the UAE score to a 0, and it's 99 for 5 they're chasing. What a game we'd have. We'd have 10 to tie, 11 to win, 5 deliveries left. We might just pretend that. Make these last few balls a bit more thrilling. But yeah, the Oman Cricket Board deserve a huge amount of credit. The most wonderful and gracious of hosts here. The pitches have been outstanding. The facilities outstanding. The off-field hospitality and the catering. Really first class. My lord, this one's heaved into the leg side. Mohammad Aslam looking to finish with a flourish. Back-to-back boundaries for Kuwait. And chasing that notional total of 100. 7 to win off 4 now. But yeah, you'd have to think these facilities in the Sultanate of Oman here have been a huge factor in their rise in world cricket over the last 4 or 5 years. Just going to have a slight break in play. You can just see on the left of your screen there, I think the ball's taken a little bit of damage thudding into the boundary fence. So Rahat Ali Chowdhury and Afzal Sher Khan, the 2 standing umpires, they're enjoying being out there so much they don't want it to end. So just taking our time, making sure the ball is okay for the last 4 deliveries. It's been a brilliant win this for the UAE. The dominant side in the tournament, the only unbeaten side. They're going to go on to the next stage full of confidence. That one's driven straight down the ground, and the attempted diving stop can't be pulled off. So Mohammad Aslam's pursuit of this total of 100 to try and get his Kuwaiti side that he's led well this week up to a semblance of respectability continues. They need 5 off 3 deliveries to get up to the 100 now. Been a brilliant 5 days of cricket here in Oman. Love bringing you every single ball of it. Cut into the offside. Gotta hang just out of the reaches of backward point. Alishan Sarifu has already taken a good catch. So 4 to get off 2 now to get up to the 100. But yeah, 15 games of cricket, 15 official T20 internationals we brought you this week. Every single ball of them for the Asian Cricket Council. We've loved doing so. Thank you for tuning in from all around the world. Viewers from more than 80 countries this week, showing the depth and the growth of cricket and the interest in the associate world. And historic week for Iran, their first ever T20 internationals. Hit into the leg side, and has that one carried. We're going to wait to see. The 2 umpires are conferring. And it wouldn't be like a game of cricket to not finish with a little bit of controversy. Rahul Chowdhury and Afzal Sher Khan just going to have a chat. It's Ahmed Raza, the captain, I think, at mid-wicket, who thinks he's taken the catch. Umpires conferring. This doesn't really matter, remember. The result beyond all doubt. They're going to say it just carried on the bounce. Let's take a look at the replay. See if we can pick up whether or not that might have landed just in front. Yeah, very difficult to tell from that camera angle. Ahmed Raza thought he might have just got his hands underneath it. Maybe just the umpires deciding the benefit of the doubt going with the batsman. 1 delivery remains. Mohamed Amin is going to try and get Kuwait up to 100, but UAE are going to take this title. And they're going to come up short of the 100. And there it is. It's going to finish with a single. And the UAE have run out. Huge winners. 102 runs. The margin of victory. The biggest win of the week. The UAE have run out. Very deserving champions of this Asian Cricket Council Western Region T20 qualifier. Superb performance from them today. Both sides, though, will take the qualification spots, so both sides are very pleased. Look at that picture. You can see the presentation backdrop coming into where it's going to need to be for all the awards that we'll see given out. Who's going to take the player of the tournament? But yeah, great joy for the UAE into a new era for them in 2020. And that new era for them is coming under the new head coach, Mr. Robin Singh, and he's got off to the perfect start. 5 matches, 5 wins. And the United Arab Emirates and their captain there, you can see him, Ahmed Raza, on your screen. Great joy. And there's the handshakes. There's Peter Kelly on your screen as well, congratulating his skipper, the high performance manager for UAE Cricket. But what a performance. Handshakes between the teams. The ground staff have done a great job this week. Brilliant from them. And there's the handshakes. The backdrop just going out. So disappointment for Kuwait. Beaten out of sight. 102 runs. The heaviest margin of defeat for any side this week. And the graphics at the bottom of your screen are going to confirm that the UAE win by 102 runs and they are the champions of this Asian Cricket Council Western Region T20. So let's take a look at the scorecards. Here's the batting card for Kuwait. Not a lot of joy. Really just the captain's efforts at the bottom. Not too often you see a number 9 top scoring in a T20 international, but Mohammad Aslam can hold his head high. the tournament's leading wicket taker, and he's led Kuwait brilliantly. He's led them to a qualification spot, but his side today beaten out of sight. The tournament's second leading run scorer, Ravi Sandaran, as soon as his wicket fell, he couldn't just quite get going today. He could only make 12. But look at these bowling figures, brilliant from the UAE. And particularly their two-star men, Sultan Ahmed, career best T20I figures of 4 for 9, and Ahmed Raza 2 for 8. The other wicket taker, Junaid Siddiqui. But what that means is that's the match summary. UAE winning by 102 runs. Great cheers in the background. UAE celebrating. Chirag Suri 60 off 41. Wahid Ahmed, the star man for me, 45 off 15, taking that UAE total out of sight. And we're just having the official presentation tested, and we're going to beautiful pictures of the trophy now. There it is. That's what the UAE are going to be lifting in just a few moments. Look at those shots. So for me, Andrew Leonard here in the commentary box, all the cricket club's team, Upendra, Chiku, David, Jackie, Jesh, absolutely everyone who's brought you every one of these pictures. We want to say a huge thank you, a massive thank you to our hosts at the Oman Cricket Board. They've been absolutely first class. There's Chirag Suri, the star man today. So Andrew Leonard here in the commentary box. We're going to bid you a fond farewell. We're going to leave you with all the pictures of the presentation, the official presentation, on your screen over the next 10 to 15 minutes. Going to find out who the player of the tournament is, but just want to thank you for tuning in from wherever you are watching all around the world. It's been absolutely fantastic to bring you every ball of this Asian Cricket Council Western Region qualifier. So for me, Andrew Leonard, my fellow commentator Barney Reid, who's safely watching back in Dubai, we're going to bid you a very fond farewell. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you very soon.
welcome our chairman, Mr. Kanakhinji, Oman Cricket Board, Chief Guest of the evening, and Mr. Sultan Rana from ACC, and our secretary, Mr. Rani, Oman Cricket, and Mr. Dilip Mendes, our CDO. On behalf of Chairman Mr. Kanakhinji and board members of Oman Cricket and ACC, I would like to welcome both the teams and officials for the prize distribution ceremony. Before we start, to the ceremony, on behalf of I would like to thank ACC for giving us this opportunity to host the tournament, and I hope all the teams have enjoyed, and needless to say that we all played in the true spirit of the game. I would like to thank the Ministry of Sports for their help in sorting out all the issues and making the visas possible. I would also like to thank the Royal Oman Police, who were kind enough to release the cameras as soon as they arrived without any hassles. And last but not the least, I would also like to thank all the spectators who were present during the whole tournament for coming here and giving us the support. First of all, I would like to thank the match officials, and I would request Mr. Sultan Rana to please hand over the mementos for their glorious contribution for this tournament and to ensure that the tournament was conducted in a very smooth way. Mr. Buddhi Pradhan, the umpire evaluator and chairman of technical committee. Mr. A.R. Srinivasan, match manager of ground 1. Mr. Jamil Jaidi, match manager on ground 2. And friends, a very big round of applause for the umpires who did the tremendous job. Mr. Yunus, Mr. Imran Mustafa, Mr. Rahat Ali, Mr. Kurupkar Riaz, our local umpires, Ananda Krishnan, and Afzal Sher Khan. Coming to all the liaison officers, I am sure you all had a very good cooperation and help from their side, and they have done a wonderful job, all our liaison officers, and I would like to accept the token of appreciation from Mr. Sultan Rana. We start with Pradeep, who was a liaison officer for the match officials. Ajit DeCosta, who was looking after logistics and transport. Then Lakshita, and hope you enjoyed our food. He was in charge for the food and beverages. Lakshita, FMB. Our 2 security officers, Abdul Majid and Parvez Al-Balushi. The team liaison officers, Amir Ali for Iran, Shoaib Khan from Maldives, Munis Ansari from Kuwait, Jivan for UAE, Gopa Kumar, Bahrain, Jivan, okay, Azad from Qatar, Rajesh Ranpura, Saudi Arabia. Unfortunately, he is not here. There was some emergency. Now coming to our DL manager, Kapil. A very familiar face, you must have seen him running around the ground. Coming to the scorers, we had two teams of scorers. Haresh Ashar, Shreyas Kankal, Vinod Matthews, Vipin Kumar, Sadiq, Latif, Ritesh Salian, Kiran Joshi, our media manager Shahzad Raza. A very big round of applause to Shahzad for sending the daily reports. And one man, because of him, we had the fantastic wickets on both the grounds. Our curator, Anup. And the last all-in-one is the only Iqbal Ariwala, please. Give him a big hand. The whole show behind it is Iqbal Ariwala. Well done, Iqbal. Well done. Mr. Sultan Rana, I don't have to introduce him. We'll do it in. Okay. Now coming to the prize distribution for the finals. First, the player of the match for the finals, and I would request Mr. Sultan Rana. There were three contenders: Chirag Suri, who had scored 60 or 41; Wahid Ahmad, who had scored 45 in 15 balls with 6 sixes; and Sultan Ahmad, who had scored, who had bowled 4 overs, 9 runs and 4 wickets. Player of the match for the finals. Any guess? It is not because of the consensus and because of you all have said Sultan. It is Sultan Ahmad. The runners-up team, Kuwait. We'll start with the Kuwait first, and Mr. Sultan Rana to please. winners of ACC.
Before going to the final trophy, I will request Sultan Rana to say 2 words about Oman cricket. The all the way is coming first time in Oman. I want to say, Sultan, please, public demand.
Thank you, Madhubai, and good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Asian Cricket Council, I would like to thank Oman Cricket Board for hosting this tournament. They have been our partners for a long time, and we have had a number of tournaments here. And the organization is exceptionally well. We are grateful to Oman Cricket Board on the whole. I'm really glad that I could join this time. Last time I couldn't make it, but I'm very happy. I'm happy for the teams also. Thank you very much for coming over. And there was some great cricket at display in the last couple of days. The better team won. Commiseration for the teams which couldn't make it. Good luck for the next time. And I think you all know that the top 2 teams have already qualified to play in the qualify for the Asia Cup. So good luck to both the teams for the next tournament. My special thanks to Cherif Bhai, Madhu Bhai, Pradeep, of course, my counterpart when most of you were not born. So we played a lot of cricket together. And great work by Iqbal and your team. I think it was wonderful to be here. I really enjoyed my stay, although it was very short. But I'm definitely coming next time again. And all the best to Oman Cricket. Thank you to the match officials. And I think the curator did a wonderful job, as both the teams were very happy. All the teams actually. And we all know that quality pitches produce quality cricket, so I think the curator did a good job. Well done, everyone who was involved in this tournament. And I thank you once again for inviting me over. I really am happy to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sultan Rana. And on behalf of Oman Cricket, please accept small token of appreciation from our chairman.
I think UAE team has to wait a little more time. Before we come to the champions, a big round of applause and thanks to the streaming team, 8 cameramen who were over here. Because of their, I think it was a very fantastic coverage. You must all have seen it. It was live for each and every match. And thanks ACC for providing us this opportunity to stream all the matches live. Now coming to the champions, UAE, please. And I would request our chairman, Mr. Kanakhanji, to please hand over the prizes. We'll start with the medals and then after the ceremony, we'll have a group photograph with both the teams. So please.